Admiral stood at the observation window of Earth's orbital command station, watching the stars. He had served in the United Defense Fleet for 30 years, and he knew trouble when he saw it. The message from the Galactic Council had arrived 3 hours ago, and it was not good news. Behind him, the command center buzzed with activity. Officers moved between stations, their faces tight with worry. Everyone knew what was coming. The galaxy had finally run out of patience with humanity. Doctor entered the command center, her tablet clutched in one hand. She was Earth's chief scientist for alien relations, and she looked exhausted. She had spent the last week at the council station, trying to stop what was about to happen. From the look on her face, she had failed. "They voted," she said quietly, stopping beside. 187 species agreed. Only 13 voted against it. Closed his eyes for a moment. "Tell me." "They're calling it a containment action. They want us to surrender all our faster-than-light ships. They want us to abandon every colony outside the solar system. They're giving us 30 days. His voice shook with anger. "They think we're criminals, all because we studied some old technology we found on Mars." The technology in question was ancient. Humanity had discovered it buried in the Martian ice 5 years ago. It was alien machinery, millions of years old, left by some species that had visited the solar system long before humans even existed. Earth scientists had learned from it, using the knowledge to improve their own ships and weapons. The Galactic Council said this was theft. They said humanity had broken the law by studying technology they hadn't invented themselves. They said humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and needed to be controlled. Turn to face, where's Sara? Ambassador is still at the council station. She's trying to negotiate, but they won't listen. Counselor has convinced most of them that we're a threat, pulled up a video on her tablet. He gave a speech yesterday. You should see it. The video showed a tall alien with feathers and sharp eyes. Counselor spoke in a harsh voice, his words translated into human language by the computer. "The humans are primitives who stumbled into the galaxy barely 2 centuries ago. They breed quickly. They expand aggressively. They take what isn't theirs. If we don't stop them now, they will become a plague on civilized space. I propose we pacify them before it's too late." The council chamber had erupted in agreement. Species from across the galaxy had stood and cheered. Only a handful had remained silent. Turned off the video. "How many ships are they sending?" "Best intelligence says 50,000 vessels. They'll arrive at our border in 2 weeks. Looked at him. "We have maybe 3,000 ships combat ready. The rest are cargo haulers and colony transports. We can't win this." "We don't have to win," said quietly. "We just have to make them regret starting it." He activated the command center's main screen. It showed a map of human space. 47 star systems, connected by trade routes and communication relays. Earth sat at the center, with colonies spreading outward like branches on a tree. Some colonies were new, barely a few thousand people. Others were established worlds with millions of citizens. Captain Jin Park entered the command center. He was young for his rank, only 35, but he commanded Earth's Special Operations Forces. He was the kind of soldier who volunteered for the missions no one else wanted. Admiral Jin saluted. "I heard the news. What are your orders?" Studied the map for a long moment. "Captain, I need you to take your teams to our outer colonies. New Station Colony. When the Council fleet arrives, those will be the first targets." "You want us to defend them?" "No, I want you to prepare the civilians for evacuation. Then I want you to stay behind." The expression was hard. "The Council thinks this will be easy. They think we'll surrender after they take a few colonies. We're going to teach them that there's no such thing as an easy victory against humans." Jin understood immediately. Guerrilla warfare, hit and run, make them bleed for every inch. "Exactly. Doctor will provide you with information about alien biology, weaknesses, fears, things we can exploit." Looked at. You've studied these species for years. It's time to put that knowledge to use. Nodded slowly. I'll prepare files for every species in their fleet, but some of these aliens are stronger than us, faster, better protected. Maybe, agreed, but we have something they don't. We're from Earth. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years and we survived. We survived ice ages and droughts. We survived predators and diseases. We learned to adapt or die. These council species come from easier worlds. They've never had to fight like we have. Over the next 2 weeks, Earth prepared for war. Admirals sent orders to every human colony and ship. Some were told to evacuate, others were told to fortify. A few received special instructions that were sealed and encrypted. Ambassador Sora returned from the council station on the last transport before the deadline expired. She looked tired and angry. Met her at the docking bay. I tried everything, Sora said. I offered compromises. I showed them evidence that we meant no harm. They wouldn't listen. Has convinced them we're the enemy. Then we'll be the enemy they fear, replied. On the 30th day, the council fleet arrived at the edge of human space. 50,000 ships, representing 200 different species. They formed a battle line that stretched across space, their weapons powered and ready. Admiral stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Soul. Around him, his crew worked at their stations. They were scared. He could see it in their faces, but they were ready. The communication system crackled to life. Counselor's face appeared on the screen. Humans of Earth, this is your final warning. Surrender your military vessels and abandon your illegal colonies. Comply, or we will use force. Stepped forward. He thought about Earth. He thought about the millions of humans living on distant worlds, building homes and raising families. He thought about what would happen to them if he surrendered. Counselor said clearly, humanity rejects your demands. We will not surrender. We will not abandon our people. If you want our colonies, you'll have to take them. Then you have chosen extinction, replied. So be it. The screen went dark. Turned to his crew. All ships battle stations. Activate defensive protocols. Send the signal to Captain Park. Across human space, on 3 distant colonies, Jin Park received the coded message. He looked at his teams, men and women who had volunteered to stay behind while the civilians evacuated. They're coming, Jin said. Remember your training, make every shot count, make them pay. The first council ships entered human space. The war had begun. In the command center, watched the tactical display. Council ships advanced on the outer colonies like a wave. There were so many of them. They think we're weak, she whispered. Admiral heard her. Let them think that. By the time they learn the truth, it will be too late. The galaxy had made its choice. They had declared war on humanity. They would soon learn that humans didn't know how to quit. They would learn that Earth's children were survivors. They would learn that sometimes the prey becomes the predator. And they would learn it in blood. The Council fleet hit New Colony first. 10,000 ships against a handful of defense platforms and 2 patrol vessels. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the Council ships landed their troops and raised their flags over the colony buildings. Counselor broadcast the victory across the galaxy. See how easily the humans fall. This war will be over in weeks. But on the surface of New, something was waiting. Captain Jin Park and his teams had not evacuated with the civilians. They had stayed behind, hidden in the forests and mountains. Now they watched the alien soldiers celebrate in the empty colony. Remember, Jin whispered into his comm device, these aliens think they've won. We're going to teach them the difference between occupying a place and controlling it. That night the attacks began. Jin's team struck the alien supply depots, destroying fuel and ammunition. They sabotaged communication equipment. They attacked patrols in the darkness, then disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. The aliens had superior technology, but Jin's people had something better. They knew the terrain. They knew how to survive. Within a week, the Council soldiers on Nu were scared. They didn't patrol alone anymore. They didn't leave their bases after dark. They started calling the planet the Ghost World, because the humans seemed to appear and disappear like spirits. Similar stories came from Station and Colony. The Council had captured 3 colonies, but they couldn't hold them. Human resistance fighters made every day a battle. The Council was learning that winning ground and keeping ground were 2 very different things. Back on Earth, Admiral watched the reports with satisfaction. The Council had taken his bait. Now it was time for the next phase. "Status report," he ordered. Commander Lee stepped forward. She was a fighter pilot, one of the best in the fleet. They called her the Ghost of it because she had once held off an entire pirate fleet by herself near. She was small and quiet, but when she flew, she was deadly. "All fighter wings are ready, Admiral. We've been practicing the new maneuvers." Smile was cold. The Council is about to learn that their shields and sensors aren't as good as they think. The new maneuvers were based on a simple fact. Human pilots could survive forces that would kill most aliens. Earth's gravity was stronger than most alien. Humans had evolved to handle punishment. In a fighter, making sharp turns and quick moves created massive pressure on the pilot's body. Most aliens could handle maybe 4 or 5 times their normal gravity. Humans could handle 9, sometimes 10, before passing out. This meant human fighters could move in ways alien ships couldn't match. They could turn sharper, dive faster, change direction when it should be impossible. Meanwhile, Engineer Ben was working on something special in Earth's military research labs. He called it the Mad Science Division, and his team was full of engineers who thought like him. They didn't believe in fighting fair. They believed in winning. "Admiral," Ben said over the video call, "the ghost ships are ready." Ghost ships were unmanned vessels packed with explosives and guided by artificial intelligence. They looked like regular human ships on scanners, but there were no crews aboard. The AI could fly them into enemy formations and detonate them, or ram them into larger ships at high speed. The Council wouldn't know they were fighting machines until it was too late. "And the kinetic missiles?" asked. Ben grinned. "Ready to go. The Council uses energy shields that can stop lasers and plasma weapons, but shields don't work well against solid projectiles moving really, really fast. We're going to throw metal rods at them at a significant fraction of light speed. Their shields will light up like fireworks, then fail. Old-fashioned kinetic impact, just at modern velocities." Nodded. "Good. We'll need every advantage." Intelligence officer had been busy too. She was an expert in psychological warfare, and she had been studying the Council species carefully. She discovered something interesting. Many of the alien species in the Council fleet had never experienced real war. They had been at peace for centuries. They had powerful weapons, but they had never faced an enemy that fought back with everything they had. Humans were different. Earth's history was full of wars. Humans knew how to fight. More importantly, humans knew how to keep fighting even when things looked hopeless. Started broadcasting messages to the Council fleet. She didn't threaten them. She just told them the truth. "You came here to conquer us," her message said. "You think this will be easy, but you don't understand humans. We don't surrender. We don't quit. We will fight you in space. We will fight you on every planet. We will fight you until you can't stand to fight anymore. This is what humans do. We survive, and we make sure our enemies remember us." The broadcasts were working. Intelligence reports showed that some Council ships were requesting transfers. Their crews didn't want to fight humans anymore. 2 months into the war, the Council's second fleet arrived at Nu, a major human colony. Counselor was confident. He had 20,000 ships. The humans had maybe 500 defending the system. Admiral was waiting for them. "All ships execute Plan Delta," ordered. The human fleet didn't form a battle line. Instead, they scattered into the asteroid field that surrounded Nu. The Council fleet followed them in, confident in their superior numbers and technology. That was their mistake. In the asteroid field, the Council's advantages disappeared. Their long-range sensors got confused by all the rocks. Their shields had to work overtime, deflecting small debris constantly. Their larger ships had trouble maneuvering. Human ships were built differently. They were smaller, more agile. They had redundant systems, so if one part got damaged, the ship could keep fighting. Human engineers designed their ships expecting them to get hit. Council ships were built expecting their shields to protect them. The battle turned into chaos. Commander Lee led her fighter wings through the asteroids, striking Council ships from unexpected angles. Her pilots pulled maneuvers that made the alien crews black out from the G-forces. Human ships would disappear behind asteroids, then emerge somewhere else. Ghost ships rammed into Council vessels, detonating and causing massive damage. Then gave the order for the kinetic missiles. Rails guns mounted on hidden platforms throughout the asteroid field fired. Metal rods, each one weighing several tons, accelerated to incredible speeds. They hit Council ships like hammers. Shields flickered and failed. Armor crumpled. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before were suddenly dead in space. The Council fleet tried to retreat, but human ships harried them all the way. By the time the battle ended, the Council had lost 400 ships. The humans had lost 89. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The primitive humans had won a major battle. They hadn't just survived. They had dominated. Councilor demanded reinforcements. The Council, shocked and angry, sent 100,000 more ships, but something had changed in the fleet. The crews were nervous. They had heard the stories from Nu. They had heard what happened to ships that fought humans in close quarters. And they had intercepted human communications. After the battle, when human crews were celebrating their victory, they had joked about it. They called it Tuesday, just another day, another battle. The aliens realized something terrifying. For humans, this kind of fight was normal. This was what they did. They didn't see it as an extraordinary victory. They saw it as just another day at work. General Wu, commander of Earth's ground forces, watched the battle reports with approval. The humans were winning in space. Now it was time to show the Council what happened on the ground. Prepare the orbital drop teams, Wu ordered. We're going to take back our colonies, and we're going to make sure the Council never forgets what it costs to occupy human worlds. On Nu, Captain Jin Park received the message. Help was coming, but he didn't need help to keep fighting. He and his teams had already made the Council's occupation a nightmare. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson. Humans were from Earth, a planet that had tried to kill them for millions of years. They had survived ice ages and predators. They had climbed to the top of the food chain through determination and adaptability. Now they were showing the galaxy what that meant. 6 months had passed since the war began. Humanity had lost 12 colonies to Council occupation, but they had destroyed over 2,000 Council ships. The galaxy was starting to realize this war wouldn't end quickly. The cost was showing. The Council's economy was straining under the weight of the war. Member species were arguing about who should pay for new ships and supplies. Some species had lost hundreds of vessels. Their governments faced angry citizens who wanted to know why so many of their people were dying in a war against primitives. On Nu, Captain Jin Park prepared for his most ambitious operation yet. His resistance fighters had been making the Council's occupation miserable for months. Now, with support from orbital drop teams, he was going to liberate the entire colony. The aliens are exhausted, Jin told his team. They're scared to leave their bases. They jump at shadows. We've broken their morale. Now we break their grip on this world. Lieutenant Ara Song commanded the Marine force dropping from orbit. She was known throughout the fleet for bringing her troops home alive. In 15 major operations, she had never lost a single Marine to enemy action. Her secret was simple. She studied the enemy until she knew them better than they knew themselves. The Council troops on Nu are mostly from species that evolved on calm, peaceful worlds, Ara explained to her Marines. They've never faced prolonged combat stress. They've never had to survive in harsh conditions. We're going to use their biology against them. The Council had established their main base in Nu's temperate valley. It was a logical choice. The climate was mild and the location was defensible, but Jin Park had a different idea. Lieutenant Song, I need your Marines to make a crossing that the Council thinks is impossible, through the desert. The desert covered half the continent. Temperatures during the day reached 50 degrees Celsius. At night, they dropped to near freezing. There was almost no water. The Council had sensors watching all the normal routes to their base, but they weren't watching the desert. They assumed no one could cross it. They were wrong. Humans could survive the desert with proper equipment and training. The Council troops couldn't. Ara studied the maps. It's a 3-day march. We'll move at night, rest during the day under thermal camouflage. My people can do it. The Council will never expect an attack from that direction, Jin added. When your Marines hit them from the desert, my teams will strike from the forests. They'll be caught between two forces. It worked perfectly. The Council base's sensors never detected the Marines crossing the desert. When Ara's troops emerged from the wasteland and attacked, the aliens panicked. They thought humans couldn't survive out there. The sight of 300 Marines appearing from the impassable desert broke their resolve. Jin's resistance fighters hit the base from the opposite side at the same moment. The Council troops, already demoralized by months of guerrilla warfare, surrendered within hours. Nu became the first occupied colony to be liberated. The victory inspired human forces across the galaxy. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Sung-ho was working on something that made Admiral uncomfortable. Sung-ho was a brilliant scientist, but his latest project crossed ethical lines. It's called the Reaper Protocol, Sung-ho explained. Nanotechnology that targets specific DNA sequences. We can program it to attack any species we want while leaving humans completely unharmed. Stared at the data. You're talking about a biological weapon. I'm talking about insurance, Sung-ho replied. If the Council decides to exterminate us, we need to be able to respond in kind. Mutually assured destruction. It's the only way to guarantee they'll never try to genocide us. Ambassador Sara was present for the briefing, and she was horrified. We can't use this. It would make us no better than them. We won't use it, said firmly. Not unless they force our hand. But Doctor is right about one thing. We need the Council to know we have it. We need them to understand that if they escalate to genocide, we can do the same to them. The Reaper Protocol was locked away in secure storage, its existence classified. But intelligence officer made sure rumors about it reached Council ears. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Engineer Bin had created something new as well. He called it Poltergeist, and it was an artificial intelligence designed for electronic warfare. Poltergeist could invade Council computer networks, copying itself and spreading like a virus. It would hide in their systems, randomly causing equipment failures and corrupting data. It's self-replicating, Bin explained with obvious pride. Once we release it into their networks, it will keep spreading on its own. Their technicians will spend months trying to clean it out, and just when they think they've succeeded, it will pop up somewhere else. Admiral Han, who commanded Earth's new stealth fleet, used Poltergeist to devastating effect. Her ships could slip past Council sensors undetected. They would appear deep in Council territory, strike at shipyards and supply depots, then vanish before defenses could respond. The Council never knew where she would appear next. They had to defend everything, which meant they couldn't defend anything properly. Raids destroyed infrastructure worth trillions and tied up Council forces that should have been fighting on the front lines. The psychological impact was even more valuable. Council member species started to doubt their leadership. If the Council couldn't protect their own shipyards, how could they win this war? Cracks appeared in the alliance. The benthic collective, a species of aquatic creatures, announced they were withdrawing from the war. They had lost too many ships and couldn't justify the cost anymore. Other species started negotiating separate peace treaties with humanity. Councilor's faction grew desperate. In a closed session, he proposed using weapons that had been banned for 10,000 years. Planet-killer devices, bioweapons, technologies so terrible that the Council had outlawed them when it was first formed. Some Council members supported the idea. Others were horrified. The debate raged for weeks while the war ground on. Doctor continued her work studying alien biology and psychology. She discovered something important. Many Council species saw war as a political tool, something you did to gain advantage in negotiations. They didn't understand total war. They didn't understand fighting to the last breath. Humans did. Earth's history was full of wars where entire societies fought for survival. Humans knew that sometimes you either won or you died. There was no middle ground. Shared her findings with Admiral. The Council is looking for a way out that lets them save face. They thought this would be a quick police action. Now it's turned into a grinding war of attrition, and they're losing the will to fight. But won't give up, said. His political career depends on defeating us. If he admits failure, his own people will remove him from power. Then he'll do something desperate, warned. She was right. Intelligence reported that a Council dreadnought, one of their most powerful warships, was moving toward the solar system. It carried a planet-killer weapon, something that could crack a world apart or burn away its atmosphere. The target was obvious, Earth. Admiral immediately recalled all available ships to defend the. He contacted directly. If you fire that weapon at Earth, there will be no peace, said coldly. We will hunt your species to extinction. Every world you occupy, every ship you build, every citizen of your species will become a target. We will not stop until you are nothing but a memory. Laughed. You can't threaten me, human. Once Earth is gone, you will surrender. Your species will be scattered and broken. You don't understand us at all, replied. Destroying Earth won't break us. It will unleash us. Every human in the galaxy will become a weapon pointed at you. We will have nothing left to lose and everything to avenge. You will create the very monster you fear. But wouldn't listen. The dreadnought entered the solar system, its planet-killer weapon charging. Had 1 hour to respond. He looked at his officers, at Commander Lee, who had never failed a mission, at Captain Jin Park, who was en route from New, at all the brave humans who had fought so hard to protect their homes. Launch everything, ordered. Every ship, every fighter, every weapon we have. That dreadnought doesn't leave this system. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and humanity would show the galaxy what they did to enemies who threatened their home. The Council dreadnought was massive. It dwarfed every human ship in the solar system. Its planet-killer weapon glowed with terrible energy, charging up for the shot that would end Earth. Admiral stood on the bridge of the Soul, watching the tactical display. Around Earth, every human ship formed a defensive sphere. Orbital platforms activated their weapons. Fighter wings launched from carriers. It wasn't enough. The dreadnought had shields strong enough to withstand everything they could throw at it. But had one more card to play. Execute Operation Flashpoint, he ordered. Across the galaxy, every human cell received the same coded signal. In occupied territories, on neutral worlds, even on Council, humans who had been living quiet lives suddenly became active. They were sleeper agents, ordinary people who had been trained and positioned years ago for exactly this moment. Captain Jin Park's teams on liberated colonies attacked Council supply lines. Human traders in Council space sabotaged military shipments. Scientists working on council stations introduced Bin's poltergeist program into critical systems. Diplomats shared intelligence with council species that opposed the war. It was coordinated chaos. The council suddenly had fires to put out everywhere, all at once. Meanwhile, Commander Lee led her fighter squadron on what everyone knew was a suicide mission. The Dreadnought's planet-killer weapon would fire in 30 minutes. They had to stop it. "All wings, this is Ghost Lead." His voice was calm over the comm. "We're going to hit the charging array at the front of the Dreadnought. The shields are thinnest there while the weapon charges. We go in fast, we hit hard, and we don't stop." Her pilots knew what she meant. They weren't coming back from this, but if they succeeded, they would save Earth. "It's been an honor flying with you," one pilot said. "Save it for the after-party," replied. "We're not dead yet." The fighters accelerated to maximum speed. The Dreadnought's point defense systems opened fire, filling space with deadly energy beams. Human fighters dodged and weaved, their pilots pushing their bodies to the limit. 3 fighters exploded, then 5 more, but the rest kept coming. Fighter took a hit that crippled her engines, but she didn't slow down. She used her ship's momentum to coast forward, directly at the charging array. Her weapons systems were offline. All she had left was her ship itself and the kinetic force of her velocity. "Tell my family I love them," transmitted. Then she crashed her fighter into the charging array at nearly a quarter of light speed. The impact released incredible energy. The charging array exploded, sending a chain reaction through the weapon system. The planet-killer weapon discharged prematurely, its energy venting into space instead of at Earth. The Dreadnought shuddered, severely damaged but not destroyed. Scanners detected an escape pod ejecting from the fireball, had survived barely. Rescue ships rushed to recover her. But her sacrifice had done more than save Earth. It had shown every human in the fleet what they were capable of. It had shown the Council that humans would do anything to protect their home. The damaged Dreadnought tried to retreat, but Admiral wasn't letting it leave. "All ships target that Dreadnought. I want it disabled and captured." The human fleet swarmed the massive ship. Without its main weapon and with its shields weakened, the Dreadnought was vulnerable. Human Marines boarded it, fighting through its corridors. They captured the command center and arrested the Council officers who had planned to destroy Earth. News of the failed attack spread across the galaxy instantly. Doctor made sure it did. She appeared before the Galactic Council with evidence that proved Counselor had acted without full authorization. He had lied to Council members about the threat humanity posed. He had manipulated them into war for his own political gain. "Told you we were dangerous," said. He was right. We are dangerous to tyrants, to bullies, to anyone who thinks they can threaten our families and our freedom, but we're not the monsters he described. We're survivors who want to live in peace. She showed them recordings of the battle. She showed them sacrifice. She showed them human resistance fighters who had risked everything to protect innocent civilians, both human and alien. "You started this war because you were afraid," continued. "You feared what we might become. Well, look at what you made us become. We've proven we can fight you. We've proven we can win. But we don't want to win through extinction. We want to win through peace." The council chamber fell silent. Many council members looked ashamed. They had supported the war based on lies. They had sent their people to die for nothing. General Wu launched the largest ground offensive in human history. 20 occupied worlds, all attacked simultaneously. Lieutenant Ara Song's tactics became the standard. Human Marines studied their enemies, found their weaknesses, and exploited them without mercy. But Ara's greatest weapon wasn't physical. It was psychological. She made sure captured council soldiers were treated well. She made sure they saw that humans weren't monsters. Many of those prisoners returned to their units and told their comrades the truth. Human soldiers fought hard, but they fought with honor. The council's will to fight crumbled. Fleet after fleet, Species that had been enthusiastic about the war at the start now begged for peace. Intelligence officer revealed the ultimate truth to the council. She had found ancient records buried in restricted archives. Millions of years ago, another species had visited Earth. They had studied humanity's ancestors and left a report. The report called humans, beings that evolved on the most hostile planets in the galaxy. It said that such species, if they ever reached the stars, would be naturally formidable, not because they were cruel, but because survival had made them strong. The Council had found this report a decade ago. Instead of welcoming humanity as equals, they had decided to contain the threat before it grew. Their fear had created a self-fulfilling prophecy. By attacking humanity, they had forced humans to show exactly how dangerous they could be. "You were afraid of what we might become," told the Council. "So you attacked us, and in defending ourselves we became exactly what you feared. But here's what you didn't understand. We only become monsters when you force us to. Leave us in peace, and we're happy to be your partners, your friends, your allies." Dr. Sung-ho did something that shocked everyone. He went before the Council and revealed the Reaper Protocol. He showed them exactly what humanity could do if they chose to. He showed them a weapon that could eliminate entire species. Then he destroyed it. In front of the entire Council, he deleted every file, destroyed every sample, and erased every trace of the research. "We built this because we were afraid," Sung-ho said. "Afraid you would try to exterminate us. But we're not going to let fear turn us into killers. We're destroying this weapon to prove that humans can be trusted. Now the question is, can you be trusted?" The gesture shocked the galaxy. Humans had created a weapon that could have won the war instantly, and they had thrown it away. They had chosen mercy over vengeance. But Admiral made sure the Council understood one thing. The weapon was gone, but the knowledge remained. Humanity could rebuild it if they needed to. The message was clear. Peace was the only logical choice. Counselor fled with what remained of his loyal fleet. He refused to accept defeat. He retreated to an uncharted system, planning one final, desperate attack. Admiral called a meeting with his top officers. "Won't stop," said. "As long as he's free, the war continues. We have a choice. We can accept a ceasefire and let him escape, or we can hunt him down and end this." Captain Jin Park spoke first. "If we let him go, he'll regroup. He'll find allies. In 10 years, maybe 20, he'll come back. We need to finish this." Ambassador Sora shook her head. "If we pursue him, we'll look like the aggressors. The Council is ready to make peace. Don't throw that away for revenge." "This isn't revenge," General Wu said quietly. "This is making sure it never happens again. Started this war based on fear and lies. If he escapes, others will try the same thing. We need to show the galaxy that there are consequences." Admiral made his decision. "We hunt him down, not for revenge, to ensure this never happens again." The human fleet prepared for one final battle. Admiral Hand's stealth fleet found Counselor in an uncharted system near the galactic rim. He had gathered what remained of his loyal forces, about 2,000 ships. They were hiding near a dying star, preparing for one last strike at human colonies. "He's going to hit civilian targets," reported to Admiral. "He wants to force us into negotiations by threatening innocents." His expression was cold. "Then we end this now. Send him a message. Tell him we're coming." Received the message on his flagship. He watched as the human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel, surrounding his position. He was outnumbered 5-1. His officers looked at him, waiting for orders. "We fight," said. "If we die as warriors." But Captain Jin Park had other plans. His special operations teams had infiltrated 3 of his largest ships during the approach, using stealth pods that Council sensors couldn't detect. Now those teams activated, seizing control of the ships from within. Watched in horror as 3 of his heavy cruisers turned their weapons on the rest of his fleet. Simultaneously, Bin's poltergeist program activated throughout the Council ships, causing systems to fail at critical moments. The battle was over before it truly began. Most of ships surrendered without firing a shot. Their crews were tired, scared, and no longer believed in the cause. Only's flagship continued to resist. Jin Park's team boarded the flagship. They fought through the corridors, facing desperate defenders. But Jin's Marines were experienced now. They had fought on 20 worlds in 100 battles. They knew how to move, how to think, how to win. Jin found on the bridge, surrounded by his last loyal guards. The counselor looked at the human captain with hate in his eyes. "You should have stayed in your solar system," said. "Your species will dominate the galaxy within centuries. We were right to fear you." Jin lowered his weapon. "You're right about one thing, we would have dominated, but as partners, not conquerors. We wanted to join the galactic community, to learn from you, to share what we knew. You could have had humanity as an ally. Instead, you made us your enemy. That's your legacy, counselor. You turned potential friends into weapons." Was taken alive, he would stand trial for war crimes. The war officially ended 14 months after it began. The numbers were staggering. Humanity had lost 4,200,000 military personnel and 1,800,000 civilians. The Council had lost 27 million military personnel across all member species. 8,400 Council vessels were destroyed compared to 2,100 human ships. The peace treaty was signed aboard a rebuilt space station that humans named New Sol. Ambassador Sara led the negotiations, and she didn't waste the opportunity. The treaty terms were harsh but fair. The Council would pay reparations to rebuild human colonies. Humanity would gain full Council membership with veto power over military actions. Technology sharing agreements would be mutual and transparent. Demilitarized zones would separate human and Council space until trust could be rebuilt. Most importantly, and his co-conspirators would stand trial for war crimes. Doctor established the Institute for Understanding, dedicated to preventing future conflicts through education and cultural exchange. She invited alien students to study on Earth and sent human students to alien worlds. General Wu retired from active service. He wrote a memoir titled "We Are Not Special, We Are Survivors." The book became required reading at military academies across the galaxy, both human and alien. In it he wrote, "We didn't win because we were better. We won because we were willing to do whatever it took. That's not something to celebrate. That's something to remember so we never have to do it again." Engineer Bin refused all military contracts after the war. He turned his genius towards civilian technology, developing faster and safer faster-than-light drives. His designs became the new galactic standard. Commander Lee recovered from her injuries. She became an instructor at Earth's Fighter Pilot Academy, teaching both human and alien pilots. Her classes were always full. Every species wanted to learn from the ghost of. Lieutenant Ara Song led the new Council peacekeeping force, a joint human-alien military unit tasked with stopping conflicts before they started. Her perfect record continued. Under her command, the peacekeepers resolved 17 potential wars through negotiation and minimal force. 5 years after the war ended, Admiral stood before the Galactic Council one last time before his retirement. The chamber was packed. Every species wanted to hear what the man who had defeated them would say. Looked out at the assembled aliens. He saw former enemies. He saw new friends. He saw beings who were learning to trust humanity and beings who still feared them. "You declared war on us because you feared what we might become," began. "You were wrong to fear us as conquerors, but you were right to fear us as enemies." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We are the descendants of prey animals who became predators. We are the children of a world that tried to kill us for millions of years. We are beings who looked at the impossible and said, 'Watch me.' You wanted to contain us. You unleashed us." The council chamber was silent. The galaxy made a deadly mistake, not because you declared war on humanity, but because you taught us that peace is a privilege, not a right. We will never forget that lesson. We will never again trust that the galaxy will leave us in peace just because we mean no harm. His voice grew harder. But here's what you should know. Humans don't just survive, we thrive. We adapt, we overcome. And now we stand beside you, not as primitives, not as conquerors, but as equals who earned our place through fire and blood. We paid for our seat at this table with the lives of millions. We will not give it up. We will not back down. We will not be contained. He looked directly at the species that had supported the war. Never threaten us again, because next time we won't show mercy. We'll show you what humanity looks like when we're not holding back. The chamber remained silent as left. His words would be remembered for generations. 5 years later, humanity had transformed galactic society. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists. Human artists shared their work with alien audiences. Human children played with alien children in schools across the galaxy. A joint Human Council exploration fleet launched to survey space beyond known boundaries. Captain Jin Park commanded the flagship, with alien officers serving under him. It was a symbol of the new era. Doctor's daughter attended university on an alien world, studying xenobiology like her mother. She wrote home about her alien classmates, about the friends she was making, about how different species could learn from each other. On Earth, a museum displayed Admiral's flagship, the Soul. The ship was still from battle, its hull patched in 100 places. Visitors from across the galaxy came to see it. The plaque beneath it read, "The price of peace." But in the quiet corridors of power, both human and alien leaders remembered the truth. Humanity had proven they belonged among the stars not because they were invited, but because no one could stop them. They had shown the galaxy that humans were dangerous, adaptable, and relentless. The Council had feared what humanity might become if left unchecked. By attacking them, the Council had created exactly what they feared. They had turned peaceful explorers into hardened warriors. They had turned potential allies into a force that had brought the galaxy to its knees. The war crimes trial of Counselor lasted 6 months. He was found guilty of conspiracy to commit genocide, illegal military action, and crimes against sentient beings. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on a neutral world. During his final statement, said something that haunted both humans and aliens. "I was wrong about many things," he said, "but I was right about one. Humanity will shape the future of this galaxy. Whether that's good or bad, we'll all discover together. I tried to stop them out of fear. I only made them stronger." He was right. The war had transformed humanity. They had entered the conflict as junior members of the galactic community. They emerged as a power that could not be ignored or controlled. But they had also learned something important. Power without wisdom leads to tyranny. Strength without compassion leads to cruelty. Humanity had the power to dominate the galaxy. They chose instead to build alongside it. Earth's children spread across the stars, carrying with them the lessons of the war. They remembered what it cost to fight. They remembered the friends they had lost. They remembered the homes that had burned. And they made sure that future generations would never forget. The galaxy had declared war on humanity. They had thought it would be an easy victory. They had thought humans were primitives who would surrender quickly. They had been wrong. The galaxy learned its lesson. They learned that humans were survivors. They learned that humans didn't quit. They learned that Earth's children were dangerous when threatened. They never declared war on humanity again. And in the decades that followed, as humans and aliens worked together to build a better galaxy, both sides understood the truth. Peace existed not because everyone loved each other, but because everyone remembered what war cost. The galaxy had made its deadly mistake. They had awakened humanity's true nature. And while humans had shown mercy and victory, Everyone knew the power that lurked beneath the surface. Everyone knew what humans were capable of when pushed too far. It was a peace built on respect, earned through blood and maintained through memory. And it lasted